All right, what's up, everyone? We had some breakfast, finishing my coffee now. Decided I would go ahead. The number one question I get on social media right now about my camper build is how much. It's just basically, do I like it? So I figured I'd go ahead and just sit down and talk about that because the short answer is I dig it. What I've pretty much what I reply back to is I wish I'd done it sooner. And it's the truth. I love tents. I love hammocks. I think they have a place, but I don't think there's, for this kind of what I'm doing here, where I'm moving pretty regularly. Like today would be one of those days where I'd like to have a tent, because the one downside is when you're set up, like it's hard to break away and go somewhere. So like there's a stream probably a couple miles away that I'd like to go explore, but it means having to break down everything, at least taking the rain fly off, and I could fashion something up and leave it up and go and come back. But pretty much every time I leave the camping spot and somebody else can take it. If you have a tent or hammocks or whatnot, you set up a tent, you're free to roam and not really worried about somebody coming and taking your spot while you're gone. That's the one downside, but the benefits far outweigh all that, because when I get up and go somewhere, like all my stuff it's all inside there. As far as like sleeping goes, super comfortable. I built a platform at 2 inches, enough that I didn't feel like I was like a mummy in a coffin or whatever. So I was, I have a mattress, it's a 6-inch mattress. I would definitely keep that. I built the platform at the height where I could sit on it and not hit, and it's been a great, decision, because it's rained just about every night, and I've been in there, waiting out some storms, because even under the tent, the camper, or the rain fly, when the winds kick up to 20-25, you start getting some of that wind push rain that just comes underneath, and even if you just can't stay completely, out of the rain in those types of situations. So the camper shell is the best option at that point in time. Plus, it's just like the other day had hail. So, and if the hail gets big enough, like, you're going to suffer some damage. But that, I'm not really worried about the cosmetic appeal of what my truck looks like. So as long as it doesn't break anything, let it go. But out here, I'd rather wait out a bad storm in a camper shell than a tent or a hammock, for sure. Got some condensation issues. It's a fiberglass shell, so when last night got down to 30 degrees or whatnot, and definitely had some leaking, some dripping off the roof. It woke me up this morning. That's how I ended up waking up. Doesn't get nearly as hot as I thought it was going to. The blocking the windows has helped. The Reflectix, that side on my bed, has really been helpful. I think that putting it onto the other side would be good, and then adding curtains to the front and the back. I think I'll just switch everything around, but I don't want to touch anything now because things keep falling off. Storage, I love my storage options. The slide is great. It's the right height for everything I need. I like having this side. Let me get up and show you what I'm talking about. So everything fits in here nice. So like I said, all my cooking stuff is there, eating utensils, coffee in the morning, and I've got it all set up for what I do the most. So like I get up, have coffee, brush my teeth, go to bed, brush my teeth, do dishes when I have to do dishes. I have tape that fits in here, strainer, some spices, and I could add more, some rope. I have some extra tippet for fishing, some extra rope, extra batteries. These are all things I might need. Sunscreen, first aid kit, but I intentionally left this open for all of my tools. So, and it's been helpful because this is where I keep all my poles for doing my rain fly. They fit in there. They're out of the way. My shovel's in there. I have an axe. I have a handsaw. The bug net. This trip is not possible without a bug net. The mosquitoes. It's the wet season. It's the wet season out west. So I'm guessing anywhere there's snow and there's melting, you get those bogs. You can just walk, and sometimes you're walking through, and you can see why there's mosquitoes. They go away at night when it gets cold, but they come back out around, as soon as it gets up to about 45, 50 degrees, the mosquitoes become an issue. As far as like sliding, it's not on any type of track or anything. I just made it where it mirrors up there, mirrors up there, and the same thing on this side. It's just underneath. And as long as everything stays underneath the height of the bed, so that's pretty awesome. Keeps everything at hand, and everything is where I need it. So when I'm making lunch or breakfast or dinner, I'm not running through these totes like, you know, oh, I wonder where this is at, and I wonder where that's at, and you know, like that was the. It's one thing when I went tent camping is that it's like, I know I put it in here. I know there's an extension cord, but it's at the very bottom of this tote, and I got to get out, you know, a couple cans of fuel. I got to get out my burner, and I got to get out, you know, whatever else you put in there that you thought you were gonna need, and then when you're done, it all goes back in there, and then like the next day you're like the same thing. Okay, I need a pot. It's at the bottom of that, so you got to open all that out, and same thing. So, the other slide I have been helpful. My 0 degree sleeping bag. Didn't think I was gonna need it, and I've needed it every night because it's gotten down pretty chilly. Trash, just keeping the bags from when I go grocery shopping, using those as, and then dropping them off when I get gas. But I have this other slide here, same thing. Got a battery on it, my inverter, the clothes, keep that in the back because I don't get clothes out very often. This has been useless. First thing I'm getting rid of when I get back, and then probably gonna put my battery here, and then put another tote over here that maybe food that I can slide in and out and not have to get in and out of the cab as much. Those white storage things, those totes, fantastic. I wouldn't trade that for anything. They go off of, they're just ratchet strapped in by, I have 2 of these on either side, so they're easy to take out, which is the benefit of it, because I did laundry the other day and I had to carry some clothes into a laundromat. And I took out one of the food baskets, and I just threw my clothes in it, and just walked in, did my clothes. It's easier than having to like carry that around. And I don't have that many clothes. It's basically like 2 weeks worth of socks and underwear, a couple pair of pants, and a couple of shirts. Nothing big, nothing fancy. Bug net, I think I talked about that. It's awesome. Gotta have that. I think I picked it up for like 10 bucks, and it was like a double-sided 2-person, so I cut it in half. So even if this one tears up, I have another half to go. Storing all my rods on the side here. So I have 3 or 4 in there, and then at night, if it gets windy, somebody mentioned using magnets. I just use the rod tubes, and they hold my net down at night if it's windy. Haven't had really that much of an issue with the wind. If it kicks up that bad, usually I'm not here. So, and there's a mosquito right there trying to get in. Told you they'd be out. Just the one though, so that's what those cool temperatures is. They put them down for a little bit. But yeah, knew I was gonna miss my rod locker and the rack. Definitely got to get that. That's the second thing I'm gonna do when I get back, is make sure I get my rod locker. Get a cargo basket up there, help out with some storage. Maybe get my spare tire up there. I don't know. Don't necessarily know that I need it. Spare tire, extra cooler. That's where I'll keep all my drinks. This is where I've been storing the rod that I'm fishing with. This is how I did it in the past. Wading boots have been useless. I got to come along, and some what do you call them? Some rescue straps if you need. Don't go out with, you know, in the woods with that kind of stuff. And a saw. That's the other thing I'm gonna do. This is the same campground I tried to get into. Couldn't get into because of the down trees, and I wouldn't go hands-on trees. But man, if I had the space, I might carry a chainsaw. Definitely, it would be helpful if you get someplace and you have a storm and you get trapped in to get out. But just getting access for the other guy, he was able to get in. So got this little tote right here. Helps with, you know, moving stuff, but also just makes a little platform for carrying stuff or keeping stuff off of things down here. So I got my emergency starter. I've used that before in Wyoming when my battery died. Extra starter battery, because I've already had a problem with my starter battery, and it was just a terminal cable that snapped, so it wasn't really the battery. It's what you get when you have a truck that's, you know, almost 11 years old and 163,000 miles on it. Looking forward to the hot shower. This is what my solution was. It was 10 or 15 bucks from Amazon. But you gotta fill it up. It's nice to have something like that. A little creek by. Yeah, nothing in there. This is the other side. So I have 2 of those water canisters where I carry them. Keep this Reflectix on the back just because they do sweat a little bit, and it keeps it from getting inside the carpet on my seats. This is the other camp bag I was talking about. Keep few bread. Most of the dry goods, things I don't get smashed, don't get in there very often. You know, make one sandwich a day. Extra coffee. The Oreos, yeah, gotta have the Oreos. But below that, it's just like another tarp, some scissors, some more of that Truck X seal stuff. I think I could actually lose this, or at least combine that one and that one into maybe a smaller solution. This is where I keep all my charger for my GoPro batteries and wires, things like that. Some Anchor chargers. Those are my backups. Like, I use those a lot when I'm backpacking, hiking into places. But right now, since I come back to the truck every day, I don't need it. I have my DSLR. I've been taking some photographs. I like to play around with the camera every now and then. Some Ziplocs. Those are helpful for most of the food you buy is going to be, you know, for a family, at least 2 people, and you buy, like, you know, cook up a pound of chicken, then you're gonna have some left over. So it's nice to be able to store it. Ziplocs or zip ties, super helpful. I'll show you a couple places where I've already used those, but I keep a whole, like, just a stash of those because you can use them for a lot of different places. This is my laptop. Like I said, I have my tying kit down there, and I have 2 boxes of tying supplies, and I've been tying dry flies because the fish have been focused a lot on mayflies right now, and caddis should be coming up soon. So, but yeah. And then terrestrials. We're going to be hopper dropper is starting to pick up. I've caught some fish on the hopper in the foam patterns, but not nearly as much. The zip ties. You can tell I've had to zip tie my chair together. Just doesn't, you know, things like this, they take a beating. These chairs are, you know, maybe 5 or 6 years old. My famous net, if you haven't seen it before, it's just an old Walmart handle, like White River special. And I had a spare bag from trying to dry out some clothes from the laundromat. I didn't want to do the dryer, so. But anyway, you zip tie your net up there, zip tie any holes. The one thing you need to do if you ever do any zip ties on anything like this on fish, and I don't think I've ever talked about this, but get take a flame and melt the edges so you don't have sharps, because that right there, those will dig into the fish, especially if you do any down here like where you have holes. Those little edges right there will get sharp. So I've melted the corners so they're not going to be scarring fish and scratching fish or whatnot. So, but yeah, that's my walk through. Like I said, I dig my camper. Rainfly, you know, the whole setup is, you know, relatively inexpensive. I mean, I paid the most for the camper shell. Everything else I've had. Painter's poles are $7. The Rainfly was $20, $25. It came with my hammock system that I got as a gift. Coolers, you know, probably the next expensive part. Everything else is like, you know, $5 or $10 from Walmart. I pretty much outfitted this entire trip from what I can get from Walmart, and obviously my fishing gear I've had forever. So I'm pretty pleased with it. Yeah, I don't know what the rest of the plan is for the day, but figured I'd walk through that, talk about it a little bit. Lots of questions on it, but highly recommend the camper. I mean, it's not perfect, like I said. If you want to go explore someplace and you want to come back to the same camp, you pretty much have to set up like a fake camp, like bring an old tent or something, or leave your Rainfly up or something, and hope that you know, it's still here when you get back. Or what I like about those, it makes me explore, you know, some other areas. So like, I came back here because the stream was close by and I knew I needed to do water. I like having the noise, and I just wanted to camp away from, like, there's only one way in and one way out. Otherwise, I would just go somewhere, just start driving down a forest road, and I'm not looking for trees, I'm not looking for a level ground. Like, even in the worst case, like, if I can get my truck in it, I can camp, and that's what appeals to me. That's what's awesome about it. And you have everything in there with you, and you just don't need more room than what you need to get your truck into. So camp is pretty much in the bed of your truck. And I think that's awesome. And as long as it will get into, because it's the same height, everything around, like I don't have anything sticking off, and I don't have, you know, anything that's going to fall off or break off or get tugged off or get snapped on anything or get hung up, you can make it work. So I dig it. So that answers the question. Do you like your camper shell? I dig it. I love it. Wish I'd done it sooner. Honest truth. Can't imagine doing another one. Next truck I get, definitely will be full size, carry a lot of gear. Can't imagine doing this with a mid-size. They don't climb, you know, it's not gonna have the same trail advantage, but honestly, after, you know, looking at it, like some of the trails they're tight in some places, and you climb a little bit, but I haven't had an issue with my full size as anything else. Like once you start thinking about all the stuff you have on there, you kind of scale it back a little bit on what you're willing to do, because I got to live in there as well. So, yeah, full size truck, 6-foot bed to be perfect. I like the extended cab, so it's hard to find an extended cab truck with a full size backseat and a 6-foot bed. But if it's out there, that's what I'll replace this one with when the time comes. But 163,000 miles, it is holding its own, keeping me safe and getting me where I want to go. So I'm not in a hurry. But that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you got any questions, leave those down below.